My name's Megan Figuera. I graduated in 2010. I still remember the full wave of emotions that I was feeling when I got here for freshman orientation. Excitement, nervousness, angst, a lot of what I'm sure your children are feeling. So before I even stepped foot on campus, I had my future planned out. I came into freshman year and really thought Notre Dame I saw it as a platform for one thing, to be a doctor. As far back as I can remember, the response to what do you want to be when you grow up had not wavered, and that was always my answer. So I finished my first semester, sat down with my advisor for the first time, and was happy to report I was doing well in my classes. And was already thinking about what else do I need to do to prep my med school applications as a freshman. And her response back was, you need to build in some extracurriculars to round out your resume. So I sat and was like, extracurriculars, what are my hobbies? And I think my focus of how I was viewing it was still in the lens of, this is something I need to do to get to med school. And so as I thought about extracurriculars, I didn't want it to be something that was super time consuming. I wanted my focus to be on my studies. So jumped into helping plan different events, different formals. And what I started to realize was that I liked working in this group. It was a variety of backgrounds. It's very different from my science classes where it was a lot of independent work. There was always a right answer. And when you start getting into planning and thinking through the details and executing on things, it was fun, that I was having fun with this extracurricular, but still viewed it as an extracurricular. So sat down at the end of my freshman year, excited to report back that I had checked the box of adding an extracurricular to my resume. And my advisor said, I would want you to think about shifting to be science business, from what I'm hearing with what you're liking. It's still a pre-med major, but you will have some more flexibility with your electives to take some business classes. So I came back sophomore year as a science business major, and I still thought, I'm still going to be a doctor. That really hadn't wavered yet. But my first business class was Intro to Management. And I realized that planning could be an extracurricular and a career was the eye-opener there, and really started to have those gut questions of, do I want to be a doctor? But if you do the math, this was 2008, 2009. It was not a great time to be entering the job market. And so I felt very trapped that I didn't really have an option. Really continued with pursuing med school, took my MCATs. If you do have students that go through that, just bear with them. It's a terrible time. Made it through, did really well on my MCATs. And so everything was still pointing me to go to med school. I did not feel like I could talk to my parents, talk to my friends, because I had convinced myself that shifting away from being pre-med would be viewed as failure or me giving up. And so that wasn't even an option in my mind. But I had my advisor. I had some professors that I had become really close with, and they pointed me to career services. So I did a little soul searching before that first meeting and sat down and said, what do I like? I know I'm still interested and passionate about healthcare. That was something that had not shifted. But I liked planning. I liked working in this group team environment. And that meeting opened my eyes to all the different opportunities that were there. I kept kind of both avenues going. I was still moving forward with doing med school interviews, but I started prepping and also attending career fairs and talking with employers and talking with alumni to kind of keep my toe in both waters. My prep paid off. I landed interviews with a handful of consulting firms, orthopedic companies, different healthcare opportunities, and I still remember where I was when I got the call from the Huron recruiter telling me I got a full-time job. I burst into tears. It was this wave of relief, and I felt clarity for the first time. I spent the first 3 years at Huron doing a healthcare consulting role. I loved it. It brought together everything I was passionate about. It aligned with my values, but I learned so much in those first couple years about healthcare, about change management, but mostly about myself. I think the first thing that I wanted to do was come back and help recruit. I was immediately wanting to give back to students that were in the same situation that I was and give them the guidance that there are so many opportunities out there. So I was always raising my hand, that I got to know our recruiting team very well, and they had an opportunity open up and reached out to me to say, would you be interested in moving to our recruiting team full-time? It took me a while, but I finally realized I couldn't plan every aspect of my life, and that I needed to follow my passion, not my calculation. I'm sure all of you in the room can attest that there's not a clear roadmap to life. In the span of the last 10 years, I've gone from doctor bound to healthcare consultant to now leading a recruiting program for a company that hires 200 plus students a year. And there's no way in heck, coming on campus as a freshman, I ever could have painted that path for you. So when I started here, I viewed college as an opportunity to learn facts and gain knowledge that would position me for med school. But the interactions with my advisors, the career services team once I got there, group projects, my peers, the extracurriculars, all of that played such a bigger role than I ever anticipated. This school does such a great job in providing the structure and opportunities for students to drive their own intellectual and creative development in and outside the classroom. And the value of that education and the support structure here is one of the main reasons that Huron recruits on campus. They do it right here. And there's a lot more structure in place now than when I was here. It makes it really easy from the employer side because the talent is here. All of your kids are going to do great things. My favorite question to get from them, though, when they're talking about consulting is, how am I going to use the knowledge from my major in my day-to-day? And I love smiling and telling them, you won't. It doesn't matter if your child decides to be an engineering or pre-med or English major. The curriculum and the interactions that they will have are going to continue to refine their ability to think critically, express their ideas, and appreciate the intellectual views held by others. If I look 12 years forward, I can't tell you where I'm going. It just is, I have the recognition that everything I go through, every obstacle, every opportunity continues to refine what my future looks like. And your children are starting at square one, but you are the support system for them. And regardless, they're going to be set up for success with the support system that's in place here. They're all going to do great things. Thank you.